Hi everybody. I'm just kind of coming on here. I'm kind of upset that my hubby isn't here with me, but we just got back from Jamaica and he had to go right back to work. So he is at work today. But I kind of want to come on here and just talk about the fact that we were able to join with HempWorks and become 250K affiliates within 7 months, okay? And lots of people ask how that happened or how we were able to do that. And honestly, I just have to say that this is a story of where it's mostly just the product that placed us here. We were, I don't know if any of you guys know my story because I had a few videos out in YouTube land and they got deleted. So I'm not too sure if that's because somebody flagged them or what it might be, but because that happened, I'm not sure if you guys know my story. So I was in another MLM industry, in another business, and at the time I just knew that it wasn't, my passion wasn't there for it. And at the time, I also had some other things going on, some other issues going on with my son at school. So he wasn't able to focus in school. I had a couple of the teachers tell me prior to this year that he had focus problems, but I guess being a mom, sometimes you kind of just push that stuff aside and you just say, you know, he's just a kid. Like he's just a kid, and that's what this is all about. And I never ever pursued anything until he had one teacher who was amazing and wound up calling me in for a conference, and he took Leanne's, my son's, papers and he put them in my face and he said, just read these. If anything, I just want you to know that I'm on his side and that I had ADHD when I was a child. And it's hard. It's hard to hear something like that, but I just want you to read his paper and understand that Leanne is one of the smartest boys I've ever come in contact with, but his thoughts are all scattered all over the paper. And so me knowing my son is very, very smart. He knows way more about like science and social studies than I ever would care to know. And I'm an RN, okay? But I don't even know half the things he does. He's so smart. So the paper was amazing. The content of the paper was amazing. However, he was right. His thoughts were just kind of all over the paper and didn't really flow. And so I started to cry. And I was like, nobody's ever showed me something like this to kind of explain to me where Leanne's mind was. And so he said, listen, I will allow Leanne to get up in class. I will allow him to walk back and forth in the back of the classroom because I understand and I've been there. However, Leanne is going to go into another year, you know, go into his next class, and we don't know what his teachers are gonna do. So he asked if I would get him evaluated, and that's exactly what I did. And they placed my son on 2 medications. And immediately, because of being a nurse, I started looking up the medications, and I've heard of them before because I'm in an ER. And I wound up going on Facebook and joining one of these ADHD moms groups just because I thought that I would get a little bit of support. And so I went on there and I kind of, you know, briefly went over my story, didn't get into much detail, but did say, like, this is the medications they placed him on, and please, if anybody has any suggestions, I'm so nervous, you know. And they all just started, don't you dare give him that medication. Like, oh my gosh, like, why would they prescribe you those meds right away? And I'm just like, you know, now I'm even 10 times more nervous than I was when I first started. So now I'm back to square one with like knowing what to do. And so, you know, I did have one girl who reached out to me and kind of, you know, consoled me and said, you know, maybe you should just try it and see. And I'm sorry that everybody reacted that way. And it's kind of funny because she's now on my HempWorks team. So it just goes to show you meet people everywhere. But so I did, and Leanne was taking them, and the school would call me and tell me that now he wasn't eating lunch. And Leanne would come home and say, please, please, please don't make me take this medication. I don't feel like myself anymore. My heart's racing, and like, I'm sorry, I get emotional. And so as a mom, like what do you do in that situation? And so I didn't know what to do. And little by little, I started to notice that in the morning, you know, Liam would always come and take his medication in the morning, and I started noticing there's more in the bottle, and I realized that my son was not taking his medications. And so a couple months go by, and the same thing's going on in school again, where the teachers are calling me and asking me like what's going on, because they thought that he was, you know, on the medication and doing well. And so I told them I can't force him to take something that he didn't want to take. And so I felt against the wall. I felt like I just didn't know where to turn. I wanted to bang my head against the wall. And so I was on Facebook, and somebody posted about CBD oil on Facebook, and I had no clue what it was, but it was in reference to somebody with ADHD. And so I was like, okay, let me just check out what this thing is, because she was saying it was all natural and everything. So I go to look it up on the computer, and the first thing that comes up is all these weed leaves, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what am I seriously looking at? Like, all natural, yeah. And but as I started to do more research, I learned that it's hemp, and it does not make you high, and that they take the THC out of it and use the entire plant for all of its benefits. So it was great for concentration, good for anxiety, good for moods, like a lot of the things that Leanne really needed. So I did know that while he was at home, he wouldn't be able to sit through a meal. He was always trying to get up, move around, like putting his feet up, doing all kinds of stuff, you know, while he was at home. And then also you just didn't know what mood you were going to find him in. And so it did actually cause us to not go out sometimes. I mean, just to be honest. And so, you know, all the things that it was saying it could help, I'm like, well, let's just see what my friends on Facebook will say, because they'll tell me like it is. They're gonna tell me if they think I'm crazy. So I went online and I made one simple post, and I said, has anybody ever tried CBD oil before? And my post blew up. I had over 200 and some comments of people saying they used it for this. I mean, anywhere from seizures, anxiety, pain, you know, stress, anything that they were saying. I'm like, this can help me. That's crazy. So I decided, I was like, you know, like, it's not gonna hurt. I've already tried something that was so detrimental with all the side effects that why not try something that's all natural? So someone tagged my now sponsor in my post and said, if you want to give Shanna more information, she's looking into trying CBD oil. And so I bought from her, and I bought HempWorks, and I did buy the 500 milligram first. And I started to give it to my son, and I decided that I wanted to see how it was going to work for him before I tried it with myself or anybody else, because, you know, I was like, well, let's see how this works and see if it's something that I'm even going to consider. And within the first week, I think it might have even been less than that, he started sitting through his meals. He started coming down from his room, asking us how our day was. And I'm like, who are you? You are not our son. He started to like just be more social, and I can't even put into words. I almost want to just say like care more about things that before he just didn't care. He'd be up in his room and he didn't want to socialize, and I'm like, can this really be? Like, is this really true? Is this happening? So I decided to try it for myself, because I was taking Lexapro and Xanax because, you know, PRN, I didn't take it all the time, but the whole thing was I'm a nurse, and as a side effect, it made you so drowsy all the time. I was always so tired every time I took these meds, and it made me a zombie. And so, you know, I was actually just gonna see if I can start taking this instead. And oh my gosh, like, the first time that I took it, my husband was laughing and he kept staring at me, and I'm like, what is so funny? And he's just like, you just have this smile on your face, you're just happy. I don't know, I can't explain it. I'm like, oh my gosh, was I like this horrible bitch before? Like, why are you looking at me like that? And so I did start to notice it wasn't all in my face, which is so crazy about CBD oil, because this stuff isn't all in your face. It's just, you start to notice that things just bother you a lot less. Like, you just feel like, no big deal over, like, you know, these things that used to just make you set off before. I mean, there were mornings that I would get my kids ready and I'd just like flip out if they were taking too long, or they didn't want to brush their teeth, or like they spilt something, you know. And now, I mean, it got to the point where my kids knew if I was taking it or not. I feel like, Mom, did you take your CBD oil this morning? And so I knew what I had in my hands. I knew that I had this gold mine. And so I said, I have to like share this with everyone. I have to scream from the rooftops about this oil, because no side effects, all natural, and it's actually working. It's like actually working. And so I just joined. I joined and I started sharing my story. I shared my story about my son. And it just created this momentum and this craziness that now 7 months later, I have 2,200 people on my team, maybe even over that now. And I have reached the rank of 250K in the company. So I am now number 5 in the company, which is just so unreal to me. I still have to sometimes look in the back office and say, babe, check this out. Like, is this real? All because I shared a story about what happened for my son. And just to let you guys know, so a little update at the end of this is that my son is actually being placed in accelerated math next year. And all of his grades has improved and his concentration has improved in school. And so this little oil here has changed our lives dramatically. And I'm so sorry that I had to kind of condense that whole story into my video today, because some of them got deleted from before. So I just wanted to share that story with you and let you guys know that any of you guys can do this. I literally just shared my story. I shared a story that was so easy to share because of the joy it brought to our family and our lives. And I feel like this is like one of the easiest businesses I've ever done, because so many people need CBD. So many people are so uneducated, and it's so fun for me because, like I said, I'm a nurse. So to educate people, I really love it. And it's like doing another job on top of being a nurse that I love on the side. And so this actually became our main source of income now. And I've actually cut back in the ER at work after doing this for 11 years, ER nursing. So, you know, that's been a plus for me because I've just been so stressed with working overtime and 13-hour shifts and all kinds of stuff all the way up to this point. So I just kind of wanted to come on here and let you guys know that if you haven't tried this oil, you really, really should. And if you ever thought that you could use a second job or just like a side income, or even if you're an at-home mom and you think that you may be good at this business, or you think that this might help your family and that you could share it. I feel like it's just like sharing a movie, you know, because I just kind of tell everybody like, this stuff is amazing. And it's one little bottle that takes care of so many things that how can you go wrong? It's like so many people just come to me and ask me about it. So Anyways, guys, it's getting a little bit long. I didn't mean for it to be like that. It's just that I'm catching everybody up, and I will be doing a lot of YouTube videos now, just kind of catching everybody up with the story, talking about HempWorks, talking about the products, talking about the business, talking about MLMs and direct sales, and also just our lives. So I hope you guys will join me, and thank you for tuning in and listening. If you guys have any questions at all, I'm gonna put my contact information here so that you guys can contact me, or if you wanna order, I'll put my website there for you to order. Just let me know if you have any questions, okay? I will be back.